Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar where we'll be talking about SDI's global standard for service desk best practice and more importantly some of the changes that have come with the new version, which is version 7.0. My name's Ollie and I'm the Head of Research and Insight, and I'm joined by our in-house expert Carla Thornley, who's the Head of Certification and Training. Hello Carla.
Hi Ollie.
Hi, it's great to have you along. So I think what would be really handy for some of our audience who have perhaps not as well versed in what the service desk certification program is all about, do you mind just giving us a little bit of an overview about what's going on with the best practice standard?
Yes, certainly. So we're talking about service desk certification and what the best practice standard is. As you can see there, it's a standard that meets the needs really of the support desk and industry, and actually is a clear and measurable set of benchmarks for a service desk operation and how you should set up your services within IT support to make sure that you're delivering the best possible value. Our standard measures areas beyond other frameworks, or certainly does incorporate the best practice of other frameworks including ISO 20000 and ITIL, and it's based on the European Foundation for Quality Management model, the EFQM model, and is an open source roadmap really for creating a world-class service desk and IT support function.
Cool, thank you Carla. And again, it would be really cool, I think, just to understand why a best practice standard needs to change.
Well, indeed, the IT support industry changes rapidly, Ollie, as we both know. So what we need to do is make sure that the standard is actually relevant to the full range of service desks that we do see. So everything from a two-seat service desk right through to your big managed service providers. This standard really does have to reflect best practice across the piece. The only way to really ensure that is to make sure that we review it quite often. Our review cycle is every 3 years, and what we do is we set up an international committee of industry experts and practitioners. We work very hard to get the very best people in the room, and then we spend 3 to 5 days sitting down looking at the standard, making sure that it is still fit for purpose and does deliver on that support need across all those types of different organisations. So we're quite rigorous in making sure that it aligns with what is needed and demanded from the industry itself.
Cool, excellent, thank you. So here's just a snapshot really of what the new service desk standard looks like,
yeah,
including all of the changes. Now don't panic too much, because we will go into all of those in a little bit detail.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about all the different concepts in more detail in a little while. But yeah, really, so the context of this is that when we set out to review the standard, the intention was to try and simplify as much as possible, to remove any duplication, to make sure that it was, fit for purpose and bang up to date. As a result of those in-depth discussions, as a matter of fact, we've increased the number of concept criteria. So we've gone from 104 to 132. And I'm not going to apologise for that. It does mean that we've included more in the standard, we've made it more rigorous, and we've made it more in line with a range of different industry expectations, which I think actually at the end of the day is what we must do. It truly is best practice and does reflect what we consider to be the very best of service and support operations.
Yeah, I think one of the key things for me is that the remit of the service desk has certainly expanded over the last 3 years.
Absolutely.
Since I've been with SDI. So.
Yeah, yes, and it's very much about aligning, making sure that you deliver good business value, aligning with the organisation, and managing that whole relationship for IT.
Okay, well let's jump into the key question, which is where are the changes?
There's changes all over the place, Ollie. So we're going to have to look at each concept in turn, I think, and we'll talk about each concept and what we've kind of included.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's jump to the first one, which is of course leadership, and there we have a close-up of what's in that concept in version 7 of the standard. Yeah,
so that's the description of the criteria. So what we're talking about here is how your leaders and managers and even employees, so leadership at every level, how that actually guides the organisation to success and how it inspires and motivates the staff.
Excellent. Okay, so let's have a look at the key changes really. So these are kind of the big ones that we've picked out as part of that concept. So the first one we have is 1.03, which is collaboration.
Yes, it's a great word, isn't it? So we very much do want to see collaboration at every level. So here we're looking for a collaborative culture, shared objectives that are defined across the IT organisation, and really delivering something that isn't designed to optimise contributions from stakeholders and is designed to achieve business success. So no more siloed working, but very much IT collaborating in many levels to make sure that we're delivering good business value.
Yes, that's a really important one there. So next we have 1.04, which is leadership competencies.
Yeah, so here we're thinking about leadership in its broadest sense. So how are we encouraging leadership across different levels of the organisation, what programme is in place to make sure that we're developing service desk leadership attributes, skills, knowledge, and the kind of desired behaviour that we want to see.
Excellent, thank you. And then 1.10, customer advocacy.
Yeah, so it's, I mean, as ICL tells us, the service desk is a single point of contact. It's long has been so. Now that we're at a high level of maturity, what we expect is that actually customer advocacy is a role that the service desk can play. So in other words, service desk management are encouraging customer-centric behaviours and have processes in order to satisfy customer demand that's timely and cost-effective. So very much speaking on behalf of the customer group.
Thank you, Carla. So those are the three key changes as part of the leadership concept. So if we jump into the next one, which is policy and strategy, and again, there's a close-up view of everything that's included in that concept.
Yeah, so policy and strategy is really concerned with establishing objectives and plans. So what we want are service desk mission and vision statements, we want agreed objectives and targets, and we want to see appropriate strategic and operating plans to make sure that we're delivering good service value.
Okay, so let's jump straight into those core changes, the key changes as part of that concept. So the first one up is 2.05, business relationship management.
Okay, so we've seen a lot about business relationship management. It's definitely coming to the fore in terms of IT service management and service thinking. We quite often see a siloed approach to BRM, so business relationship management. In reflecting what the service desk needs to do, we need to make sure that these areas are aligned. So wherever your BRM activities are taking place, we'd want to see those relationships developed and maintained and also aligned, so that we're not creating siloed thinking. So BRM linking in with service management.
Yeah, it's really good to see business relationship management featuring as part of a service desk strategy and feeding in through that level. So that's really cool. Area to see as part of that concept. Next we have 2.07, financial management.
Yeah, so financial management used to live in a different concept. We've moved it into policy and strategy just to highlight the importance of it, really. And it's around the management understanding, well, having a real understanding of the link between service desk requirements, so anything around budgeting, staffing levels, technology, facilities, and any other financial performance measures, how they're understood by both the service desk and the wider IT organisation.
Fantastic, thank you. And again, I think those are the only two kind of key changes as part of the policy and strategy concept. So let's jump into people management. So again, another close-up there of all that's involved in that concept area. Yeah,
this is really where we're looking at your job descriptions, your training and development and coaching plans, any kind of regular structured interactions with the service, the staff themselves, performance reviews, remuneration, reward, etc., etc. Just around developing a satisfied and motivated workforce.
Cool. Okay. Once again, we'll delve into the key changes as part of this concept. And the first one is 3.02, recruitment.
Yeah. So the standard wants to see a structured recruitment process in order to increase the quality of staff selection, making sure we get the right people in the right roles, and attracting the right talent in order to increase efficiency.
Yeah, of course, that talent's key with this one. I think we'll see a lot of that.
Yeah, lots of mentions of talent. Yeah.
So next we have 3.03, which is onboarding.
Yeah, and I think this activity was implied in the previous version of the standard, but now it's a specific requirement. So onboarding is that structured process that ensures that new staff feel valued and part of the business and understand the culture, etc., and become more efficient and effective as soon as possible. So we want to see some evidence around that.
Cool, okay. And then we have 3.07, talent management.
Yeah, so you just mentioned talent management, and certainly that's something that a lot of organisations are paying far more attention to now. So the standard wants to see a programme in place to identify, attract, develop, retain, and really manage staff who demonstrate those highest possible levels of potential for the future. So it's about making sure that we're fulfilling business critical roles, but also that we are assessing our talent and managing it throughout the life cycle.
Excellent. Okay, so those are those three kind of big key changes as part of that concept. So let's jump into number 4, which is resources.
Yeah, so there's a name change for this concept. It's now simply called resources, and it really is very much around everything around the infrastructure of how you deliver your service. So this isn't just about the service desk. This is your end-to-end resources for IT service delivery.
Okay, so let's jump in and have a look at the key changes there. And that's that move from financial management into the policy and strategy section.
Yeah, absolutely. So nothing much more to add to this concept, but we have, highlighted that financial management is far more strategic maybe than was given credit for in the previous version of the standard. We've moved financial management into policy and strategy.
Okay, and let's move to number 5, which is processes and procedures.
Oh, the bane of every service desk life, isn't it? Good old process and procedures. So it's always been quite a meaty concept, this one. There's a lot in it. And again, it touches across the whole life cycle of your IT service delivery. So this is where we involve not just the service desk, but everybody else in the actual certification process. And we want to hear from other people as well. It does touch on all processes and procedures.
Okay, and let's once again take a look at those key changes. So number 1, 5.01, governance.
Yeah, and again, I think this was implied in the previous version of the standard, but now it's much more explicit. So what we want to see is that processes and procedures that have been defined are also monitored to ensure compliance, and that you identify improvements that will produce better performance and control.
Excellent, thank you. And then 5.02, risk management.
Yeah, again, highlighting the importance of adequate risk management. So it's about identifying and mitigating risks. So what are you doing to ensure that you actually improve your strategic planning and drive continual service improvement through good risk management?
Okay, and then 5.12, interaction quality monitoring.
Yeah, and this is a reflection of the change really in the types of activities that the service desk are involved in now, and in IT, in the different channels of support that IT does actually deliver through these days. So I think we used to look at telephone call monitoring, telephone quality monitoring. We're not just delivering telephone support anymore. There's far more to it than that. So what the standard reflects is that you need to make sure that there are quality monitoring processes and quality assurance activities around all interactions through the service desk.
Yeah, I think that's key. So one of the things that our benchmarking research is revealing over the last 10 years really is the huge amount of communication channels we now have, and making sure all of those are monitored.
Yeah, because we need different skills, etc., for the different channels. Yeah.
Okay, and then 5.22, which is approval.
Yeah. So this is another one where explicitly what we want to see is a procedure in place for improving service requests to ensure that the infrastructure and data is protected and that resources are effectively utilised, and that we're actually measuring the effectiveness of these processes and aiming to improve them.
Yeah, it's a really cool one to see, because certainly in my experience, the service desk often finds itself as the route in to get approved changes, and particularly access to data or areas of the IT infrastructure.
Absolutely, and what we want to see is really making the most of the efficiency of these processes. So we're not just doing the activity, but we're monitoring how efficient and effective the activity actually is.
Excellent. So those are the 4 key changes in processes and procedures there. So let's jump into number 6, which is managing employee satisfaction.
Yeah, another name change. So we've moved to the term employee rather than people satisfaction, just to highlight the fact that this is around looking after your own staff. So we're looking at the satisfaction and the well-being of the staff that work within the service desk and within IT.
Excellent. Okay, so let's delve into the key changes there. So the first one is 6.02, skills and knowledge.
Absolutely. So what we want to see is training development programs that are aligned to define service desk roles. So we've got a whole range of roles on the service desk these days. It's not just a simple service desk analyst role. And in order to equip the service desk staff with skills and knowledge they're required to succeed. So how we make sure that people are skilled up, knowledgeable, and that knowledge and skill is actually valued.
Yeah, it's great to see that kind of featured more heavily in the standard, because the role knowledge plays is becoming just a bigger and bigger piece of service management.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, so then we have 6.05, which is employee engagement.
Absolutely, yeah. So this is another one where, again, we're all about the people and making sure that service desk staff are committed to the organisation's purpose, that they understand the objectives and the values that the organisation holds and that are part of the success of the organisation, and that they are motivated really to contribute to success while enhancing well-being. So well-being is a big part of this one.
Excellent. And then we have positive team culture, 6.08.
Absolutely. So what we want to see is that a positive team culture is promoted, and that we are encouraging collaboration, which we mentioned earlier on, and motivation within the service desk team. So it's all about proactivity and making sure that people feel that they are making an impact.
Excellent. Okay, so those are the 3 key changes as part of Concept 6, managing employee satisfaction. So let's move through to Concept 7, which is managing the customer experience.
Yes, and again, we've changed the title of this concept, so it's about the customer experience. So that reflects the fact that it's not just about customer satisfaction, but it's holistically about the entire experience.
Excellent. Cool. Okay, so let's delve in again. So the key change here is managing customer satisfaction results, the analytics side.
Yeah. So in addition to the other criteria, what we've said here is that you absolutely, we do acknowledge that surveys are a big part, or survey results can be a big part of your customer advocacy or customer experience management process. However, what's important is what you do with what you find out. So it's about making sure that your analytics, that there are analytics in place and that the results are openly disseminated to stimulate service improvement actions and to drive success.
Thank you. Excellent. Okay. So that's the only key change in managing the customer experience, the only kind of major one there. So let's jump into definitely my favourite concept because it's the biggest and certainly the most intimidating, management information and performance results.
And again, we've changed the title here, so it is very much about management information, so it's not just about producing data for the auditors to look at. There's a real change of focus in this concept. We did start off here thinking, can we maybe look to reduce the number of management information performance results that we think are important to a service desk, but actually, in actual fact, everything listed in this concept could be, depending on your type of service desk, of real business value. So we haven't removed anything. What we have done is slightly change our maturity rating, and I think you've got a slide to reflect what we've actually done.
Yes, absolutely. There we go. So that's kind of that big broad change.
It is a big change. So at the maturity, at the highest level of maturity, what we expect to see is not just that you have data and that your data is trending towards targets for 12 months, but that you are using your data in a way that is driving business success. So it's the analysis and that translation into commentary. So what is it actually telling you? Are you able to articulate the value, and are you basing your strategic decisions around what the data is telling you?
Yeah, and as, again, for me it's a really interesting one to see because data is playing such an important role now in not only service management but just all business decisions really. It's the focus of it, so it's really cool.
It should be used really effectively because we've got such a rich source of data at the service desk for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so then we have 8.03, which is target alignment.
Yeah, so again, we've always said that we, your whatever measurements you're doing, there should be smart targets, and your data should show that you are trending towards target. And this is just a reflection of that, really. What we want to see is that you're cross-aligning your targets, that you understand what the targets are about, and that you're actually just, as we said before, using that to drive business decision-making, strategic business decision-making.
Okay, and then we have the last key change in this concept, which is by far my favourite metric now, which is 8.21 bounce rate.
Yeah, so the committee did look at whether we could remove any reports. Equally, I think we have removed one, which was remote support. Now we feel that remote support is so ubiquitous across service desks, we don't really need to be measuring it. You either do it or you don't, and it's obviously got good business value. Bounce rate, though, that's a measure of the efficiency and effectiveness of your entire incident management process. It can give you an awful lot of really valuable information if you start to examine the number of times people are touching tickets, what those touch points are, and why they're happening. So it really does drive efficiency and good decision making, so that's why it is included in the standard. And I'm with you, Ollie. I think it's a great one to be measuring if you can. Yeah,
it's a really interesting one for, certainly from my point, highlighting process inefficiencies with a ticket bounces from one team to another and then immediately bounces to another. Then does that second team need to be involved in the process? What are they adding to it? It's a great way of really evaluating the way some ticket categories or priorities are being managed.
And again, another great example of where this extends beyond the service desk. This applies to the entire IT organisation. It's not just about what the service desk are doing with those tickets. It's much more than that. So I think it's probably worth saying at this point that for this concept, a lot of people are quite frightened about it because there are so many reports. So what I'd really like to say is that it isn't necessary to measure everything. What we would suggest is that you need to have a strategic view about the reports that are of greatest business value to you as an organisation, and then what we want to see is that you're using the data that you can measure to the most effect. So you don't have to do everything. It's for you to decide what you do. But the suggestion within the standard covers pretty much everything that we think is of value to a service desk potentially.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, so those are the key changes for the management information and performance results concept. So let's move into the final one, number 9, which is social responsibility. And there we have. So that's that's a close-up of that concept. Am I right in saying nothing's changed there?
No, that's correct. I mean, we did look at this to decide whether or not we needed to update it. Obviously, corporate social responsibility is a big thing, and this is around the continuing commitment of an organisation to behave ethically and to contribute to its economic development whilst improving the quality of life for the workforce, the local community and the society at large. So a really, really valuable concept, and we did look at whether or not we needed to include anything else in it, and we found that actually we're quite happy with it as it is, so it stays unchanged.
Yeah, those 4 areas of that concept are quite broad. They cover an awful lot, don't they? It looks like a small concept, but it really does cover it.
Yeah, and a great opportunity to celebrate all the extra value-add stuff that the service desk often do.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I think we've just got a few key points about kind of, what next, the next steps that people should embark on.
Yeah, so obviously for people who are in the programme currently, we need to map across to the new standard and make sure that we are providing evidence for the concepts and criteria within the new standard. So we suggest doing a piece of evidence mapping, which needs to be around exactly what's in the standard and which maturity levels you would find evidence for across the whole of the 9 concepts.
Yeah, and we have gap analysis.
Yeah, and that's a big part of certification, obviously, is to perform a gap analysis. What do you think you do now and can provide evidence for, or where are the gaps? So whether you're coming new to certification or you're looking to move to version 7, that gap analysis is going to be key to actually being successful.
I think it's a really enlightening process in itself, isn't it, a gap analysis? Because sometimes you just don't realise that was even something that needs to be thought of to begin with.
Absolutely, and you do need to look at the standard holistically, so we can all say, yeah, we think we're this, but actually when it comes to it, you need to analyse exactly what you can provide evidence for. So certification is about providing evidence for all of those concept criteria and maturity ratings within them.
Excellent, and I think finally we have that readiness review.
Yeah, so the SDI as we said right at the beginning, this is an open source standard, so you're free to use it at any point. It's freely available and you can always use it to benchmark where you're at and look at your own continuous service improvement plan. What we can also do though is provide support and guidance at any stage, and certainly we can look at a readiness review. Where are you at now? How close are you to the standard? And we do offer pre-certification assessment days where we can come in and help you with that piece of work.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's kind of in keeping with the final thought really, which is, if you have any questions, please do get in touch.
Absolutely. So I'm really proud of the new standard. I think it's a great piece of work. It's very robust. There's a lot of rigour in it, and I do think it's applicable to any type of service desk that I've seen so far, and I've seen many. So yes, I do hope people enjoy using the standard, but we're here to support people and we're here to help that certification journey. So do get in touch if you've got any questions at all.
Well, Carla, it's great to see another great updated standard, and it's been a pleasure speaking to you. So
thanks a lot for coming. It's been great. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.